Welcome in. We are headed to the Elite Eight and back at it for another week of the WATD High School Football Fantasy Draft. Quinn, Johnny, Brendan with you tonight, picking teams for Week 10 of the high school football season. Had 27 South Shore and or Metro South teams in the field in Week 1 of the playoffs. We were down to 17, but a pretty good hit right there. A lot of good games, couple surprise losses. Abington jumps to mind first, a couple of big wins, Weymouth being one of them. I saw, I believe the Ledger had this, Weymouth thinks it's their first ever playoff win, which I feel like has to be a typo, but I don't know.
In the new format, maybe.
Yeah. Huge win for Weymouth either way. And they are moving on. So we've got 17 teams left. And a lot of good squads left in the mix. So we're going to dive in here. We've got Johnny, the big winner from last week, behind Seamus Whiting, putting an unbelievable performance up. I was happy to get to watch it. 402 yards, 4 touchdowns. Did have a couple picks, but still I think had the high total for a quarterback this season. So big week. Hats off to Seamus. I finished in second, Brendan in third, narrowly split there. So, Brendan, the board is yours. Round 1, pick 1, Week 10 fantasy draft.
Well, I think it's time, now that we've eliminated a lot of the players from the board, it's time to go back to some of the bigger names. I'm going to go with Ben Scalzi this week. I'm going to go with a big quarterback name, a guy who's been putting up massive numbers. I don't know if you saw that hurdle highlight from him that got called back. What the hell was that? Like, that was a D1 college play, as Hanover mentioned. Unreal. I'm going to go with Ben Scalzi this week. I'd like him to put up 3 touchdowns at the very least.
I'm super interested to see. So first off, Ben's going to be around. They're going to get by again this week, and they're just going to keep rolling because they're that good. I'm interested to see where his path goes from here. I mean, he's going to be playing at the next level, I imagine, or I'm sure. So I'm interested to see if it'll be.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if it'll be right away next year or if there'll be gap year or anything like that. But yeah, he's been fantastic for them. So I think he'll work the number 1 overall. I'm going to go to the running back room, and I'm going to go to our game of the week because we are not facing South Shore on South Shore. So I'm happy to do it. I'm going to go Will Bostrom from Norwell. Clippers are taking on the Fairhaven Blue Devils. We'll be out there Friday night, 6:30 start. We'll roll right in after the 6 o'clock news on 95.9 WATD. And we'll have a huge round 1, and I'm sure he's poised to do it again in round 2. So give me Will Bostrom. Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to put the word back out. I mean, I'm back. I am so back. Just a textbook round 1 week for me. I'm going to start rolling. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go to the Marshfield Bishop Fian game, and I'm going to take Tormas as a wide receiver from Marshfield. I think.
Nope. No. Quarterback. Tor's their quarterback. Do I have that screwed up on the sheet?
Who's their? Oh, I'm mixing up the name. Who's their good wide receiver then?
Nick Couples is the captain, number 1.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm on. Nick Couples. I'm on Nick Couples, wide receiver, Marshfield.
I don't know why, but no K at the end of Nick, and I just like that. Just.
I think that's what I think. I knew it was a 3-letter name, and I tried to just not look at the sheet, and I got bit. So.
Yeah. No, Nick's fantastic. He's going to be a big factor in the ground game too. He was good in round 1. I think he has an opportunity because they got Reed Bergamasca and Charlie Carroll back, and they were just out for a game with injury, but they draw a lot of attention on the outside, and I think that gives Nick a lot of room over the middle of the field. And Tor, who you mentioned, does a really good job facilitating, so I think Nick should have a big game for them. All right, Brendan, round 2.
I'm going to go to the wide receiver room here. I'm going to go to Lawson Foley out of Scituate because I feel like this game against Holliston is going to be a offensive slugfest. I'm thinking it's going to come down to like a 42-35 game, something like that. Whoever wins. But I think Lawson Foley is going to have a huge game for Scituate in the process.
4 Situate wide receivers over 50 yards last week, and you take the one that came off the board last week. So you're swinging for the fences. All right. Lawson
Of
Foley.
course.
Yeah. Great. Yep.
They've
2
all been
touchdown
taken by this
performance.
stage. They're all good picks.
Yeah, they are. You could free to mix it up though. Lawson Foley's a great pick. I think he's gonna have another great game. I feel like he's I think we expected him to be the clear number 1 at the beginning of the season. And I think early in the year, as they kind of figured things out on offense, he wasn't. Or people knew of him. So he was, I don't know.
I feel like they've relied heavily on their running game and their backs out of the backfield. They rely heavily on dump offs, and it usually leads to big gains. And that sets up their receivers. That's how their offenses worked. But I think this game against Holliston is a perfect setup. These two teams have met numerous times over the last couple of years in the postseason. Herb Devine and I were talking about this after the game, and he basically said that he and Todd Kiley were just chuckling because it feels like it just happens no matter what. Like, regardless of what the season is, they always find a way to meet each other. So I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think Lawson's really established himself as kind of the number 1 guy in the room. All right. I'm going to go to both the wide receiver off the board. I'm going to close out my running back room actually, and I'm going to go back to a matchup that you already dipped into, Johnny, and I'm going to go with Daventry out of Marshfield. I think that he's been sensational. He is averaging over 100 yards per game over the last 5 games. Touchdown numbers are way up. I think he had 15 touchdowns over the last 4 games of the regular season. He's just carried that forward into the playoffs. He's been really good over the last back half of the season here. So I'll take Daventry to kind of keep things rolling for Marshfield. They're going to have to, they rely heavily upon the ground game, even though they can pass the ball. But that's kind of the only way they control clock, I feel like, given that they move so quickly. When they get into a position where they're going to want to be trying to bleed some clock against Bishopian, I think he's going to come up huge. And he's going to come up huge when they're just going too. All right, Johnny, close out round 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to running back. Nobody took Appleton last week, did they?
No.
I'm gonna go
you did, Brendan. Did you? Yeah, you did.
Okay, then never mind. Yeah. I am going to go. I'm going to go with Tyler Holmes from West Bridgewater. They got an interesting matchup this week, but I think they rolled last week, obviously over South Hadley. But Amesbury, I think, is going to be tougher competition. But I think West Bridgewater's in a good spot to get it done, and I think Tyler helps with that.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully they can get through here and keep on rolling, because I believe it would set up a West Bridgewater Cohasset meeting in the next round if they do, which we all got our fingers crossed for. So, I think great pick with Tyler. Round 3, Brendan.
Going to continue to swing for the fences here. Did anyone take Charlie Camella last week?
No.
Well, now that he's back and he's healthy, Zvarian's going to need him as they go further into the playoffs. You might think, hey, why would they use the running game? I think the Hawks are going to have to rely on him because he's just such an electrifying weapon. So I'm going to go with Camella as my running back this week.
Yeah, they played Springfield Central once, and they ran the ball plenty. Camella obviously was out, but Denzel Pierre had a huge game for them. They're going to run the ball in this game. They run the ball very well, and they're going to want to establish the run and not just rely on the passing game exclusively. So, good pick, Brendan. And with that, now that Severian has been put out into the ether, I'm going to take my quarterback off the board before Johnny snaps it up, and I'm going to go Henry Hasselbeck. And
I was going to go him.
I was going to.
Reason being for that, honestly, is I don't know that they get past this week. Having to face Central again, it's just been a bugaboo for them in recent years, as it has for most programs in Massachusetts, right? Central's been sensational. He had about 280 all-purpose yards in their first game, 3 touchdown passes, a touchdown rush. He's going to get his I feel like Severian's interesting in that their close games have been high scoring games. They've got a really good defense, but when they face this higher level competition, Springfield Central Catholic Memorial, it's turned into a marathon game. It's turned into a shootout. I think that, maybe the style will be a little bit different second go around against them, but I think he's going to be, Henry's going to have a big game. And, and I want him on the board in case there's not another opportunity to get him. All right, Johnny, close out round 3.
Yeah, I was gonna go him, which is tough. I'm just gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go Jamison Helms from Carver. I really like that matchup for them. They looked obviously fantastic last week. I think you got to take it with a grain of salt, just given who they were matching up against. But I love them against Kip this week, and I think Jamison helps them win.
I think that technically speaking, he would qualify as a running back, but I think he considered.
I'll take either one. I want him. So whatever you want to slot him in at.
You tell me where. We'll see how the rest of the draft shapes up for you because he catches a ton of passes too. I think he's great. I think they're great, and I think they're gonna stay hot this week. Round 4, Brennan.
This is a guy who hasn't gone in a while, I believe. I need to fill out my running back room, and I feel like Duxbury's just going to keep on going as the playoffs go. Alex Barlow, I think, is a good pick this week. They've been relying on the passing game for a good chunk of the last couple of weeks, but I think this is a game where he gets back into it and picks up a good 100 yards, maybe a touchdown or 2.
Yeah, again, I've said time and again, the best Duxbury teams, and I think I don't know if this is one of the best Duxbury teams that we've seen, but the best Duxbury teams have great ground games. They've had unbelievable quarterback play for years, but when you look at the common thread through their most dominant teams, it's that they're really good in the ground. So Alex is going to be a big factor. I think if they're going to make a deep run, I think this week is right there with it. All right, I need my wide receivers, but I don't mean to throw a wrinkle at you, but our defense is off the board so far. Norwell, Carver, and Duxbury. I think that if we can all make an effort to not go back-to-back in a week with any defense, we should do that. So I'm going to go with my defense first here, though, in round 4, and I want the Hanover defense. They're playing well. Hawks are hot. Give me the Hanover defense. All right, Johnny.
Is it me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I am going to go wide receiver. I'm gonna move my last pick to running back, so I'll take 2 more receivers. My first is going to be.
You just need 1 more receiver.
No, my second is going to be Ronan Salmon from Milton.
Yep.
I think they're an interesting team. So, yeah.
Sophomore in a room full of seniors, and he's the go-to guy. I think he's a sensational talent. You should be happy to have him on the board. All right, Brendan, round 5.
Am I allowed to stack it up here? We're allowed to stack it up in the WATD Fantasy Football Room, correct?
What do you mean?
Picking 2 players from the same team?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to go with Johnny Mack this week from Hanover, Johnny McDonald. I think he's going to have a good game. I feel like regardless of which game you pick, Hanover's players are destined to get you massive points, which is why I'm going to go with him.
Somebody was yelling at us on Twitter this week.
I know, I saw that. I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll cave. I'll be the one that dives on the grenade this week. And grenade. Meaning a guy who's probably going to put up at least 15 fantasy points.
How do you not take John McDonald, you idiot?
How dare you, kid?
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, John McDonald, what more can you say? All right, so I need my wide receivers. I believe that closes both of your receiver rooms. So Yeah, I got my pick. I got both mine still available. I'm going to go Taron Williams first off for Rockland, coming off of a huge week. I'm hoping he can do it in back-to-back weeks for them. I'm a little bit anxious about their matchup this week. I'm hoping that they stick around. If they do, it's going to be in large part because Taron has another big game. So give me Taron Williams. All right, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm gonna go running back. It's a tough game. I'm gonna go Jacob Beer and Brood spot.
You don't need a
BC
running
High.
back. You don't need a running back.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. You got Charlie. No, I'm sorry. You got Tyler Holmes, and you just moved Jamison Helms. You need a quarterback.
I've already made
defense.
4 picks. How about? Wow.
You like to be reporting right now.
Yeah, Jesus, it's been a long day. Quarterback. I am going to go Michael Wildfire from Cohasset.
I like it. Listen, he has clearly come into his own in the role, and he's got Cohasset looking really good. So I think great pick. All right, final round, Brendan. You need defense.
I think I have to pick a defense here, and I'm struggling because we're at that stage where it could be tricky. Just don't know where to go. Screw it. I'm going to go with Cohasset this week and get Smashby. Could be a tough one. It could be a tricky one. Like I'm just going off the top because we're dealing with South Shore matchups, and a lot of them are very difficult this week. I think Cohasset this year against Mashpee has the upper hand. It could be tough because it's technically a league rivalry, so Mashpee might know some tricks, but at the same time, I like the Skippers. They just feel like they've been so dominant this year in that division. Out of the teams that are left, that's my pick.
Mashpee didn't know any tricks in the regular season matchup. It was a 49-0 final. I think that makes it harder for Cohasset second time around, but the defense clearly had a good read on Mashpee in the first go. So I think I think that's a worthy pick. All right, I'm gonna go in between here. Now let's bring the cards into the fold. Give me Jake Mo, Cardinal Spellman. Big win for them. Get it done over St. Mary's. Matt O'Donnell was really, really great in that game for them. Did a lot on the ground, but he was good through the air as well. And when he's going through the air, typically Camo is the chief beneficiary of that. So give me Jake Mo. And that brings us to you, Johnny. Final pick of the Elite 8 round WATD Fantasy Draft.
I might just be trying to talk this one into existence, but give me the Severian defense. I think they only give up 14 points, and they get 3 takeaways this week. And
yep. I like that.
Playing with house money when it's already got.
All right, let's put it this way: they got to show up in some big game. So somebody's got to step up and kind of defeat the boogeyman that is Springfield Central in the playoffs. So let's put in a good defensive performance here.
I love it. Listen,
represent Johnny.
Yeah, Hawks got it. Yeah, that's one Hawk calling out the Hawks.
Yeah,
I like it. Call to arms, baby. Yeah, I think it's a supremely tough matchup, but you won last week, so you're playing with house money a little bit here. So I like it. All right, that closes the board. Let's run them down. Brendan, quarterback Ben Scalzi, running backs Charlie Camella and Alex Barlow, wide receiver Lawson Foley and John McDonald. Those are out of respectively Hanover, Severian, Duxbury, Situate, and Hanover, and you have the Cohasset defense. I have got Henry Hasselbeck, Severian quarterback, running backs Will Bostrom out of Norwell, Daventry out of Marshfield, wide receivers Taron Williams out of Rockland, and Jake Mo out of Cardinal Spellman, and Hanover is my defense. And Johnny, your quarterback, Michael Wildfire out of Cohasset, your running backs, Tyler Holmes out of West Bridgewater, and Jameson Helms out of Carver, and your wide receivers are, Ronan Salmon out of Milton, and Nick Couples out of Marshfield with the Severian defense. All right, that'll wrap it for us here. Week 10, Elite 8 round WATD Fantasy Draft. Go ahead and like and subscribe below to see all of the WATD sports content here on YouTube. We will be back at it with another draft next week. In the meantime, Friday night, you can see us live from Norwell as the Clippers take on the Fairhaven Blue Devils. It's our South Shore game of the week, and then we'll be back at it Sunday with the Sports Exchange to break down all of the Elite 8 action. All right, for Brendan, for Johnny, I'm Quinn. We'll see you next time.